America.
I wasn't even ready. You always do that to me. I'm ready now.
Do it then.
America.
What's going on? Smart Beat Stupid. Labor Day edition. And what are we talking about today? It's hot. I'm sweating. That's not going to be good camera stuff.
Highlight on fleek.
I just took a shower, so.
We're talking about Colin Kaepernick not sitting during the national anthem. It's kind of a hot button issue at the moment, and we just wanted to give our take on it.
Yeah, and are we also going to talk about Chris Brown too? Less Colin Kaepernick. So what are your thoughts?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know the situation, it's pretty self-explanatory what I just said, but he was at a preseason game. Everybody's standing for the national anthem like they do, and he decided to sit. Everyone has been... Okay, let me say it this way. You either agree with it or you don't. There's no in-between, I feel like.
Yeah, well, kind of. A lot. I think the in-between on it is a lot of people are saying that it's as right as an American. And that's in between as you can get to me.
I guess.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people actually feel that way. What's your personal take?
You know what? I don't... First of all, it is his right to stand during the national anthem. There have been several other political figures that do not put their hand in their heart, do not stand for the national anthem.
See, I've never heard of anybody not standing. I've heard of people not putting their hand in their heart.
They stand and they look like they're glazed over. I mean, that's kind of disrespectful, but...
I mean, are you supposed to be like...
Singing with a yeah.
I've never seen you
Really?
sing with the national...
When have we been together for a national anthem?
Yesterday, 3 o'clock. Moving along, so...
Anyways, so, I mean... I don't necessarily agree with the platform because he is there to play football, but it is his right. If he chooses to sit, by all means. I mean, I don't think that he was wrong in exercising that right.
Well, we discussed this earlier, and my initial take on it was the platform was wrong. I mean, he's a very wealthy man, and he actually did donate some of his money to go toward charities. I don't know exactly what charities, but I know they were kind of to benefit those who've been mistreated by the police. So that's how I think he should have done it from the get-go. But being an athlete, that's your opportunity to do so. It's like being a rapper, unfortunately working a 9-to-5 job, you can't express your views. But he has the opportunity to do that, and I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying that he was wrong. Do I think that he probably should have went to social media first? I mean, I feel like he took a very dramatic stand, which might have been, the plan all along.
I think it was. I think the socks. Did you see the socks?
I did, little piggies with helmets.
Yeah, I think that's overkill, personally. I feel like... I feel like that's going over the top. I like what he did, personally. I think that if he believes that strongly, which he clearly does, I think that's the right thing to do. I think he opened up more awareness and more conversation around it.
Because it did stop for a while.
Now, personally, I do have to say on a side note, kind of a sidebar, get your quarterback game together. It would be easier to digest this all if he was still at the top of his skills, but he's being benched over a dude that's not that good right now. And I got a little bit of issue with that. It's kind of like you're not taking care of your profession and you're doing the extra curriculums. In my opinion, you got to do it like LeBron does it. Be the best on the court and then try to help off the court. LeBron James does tons of charitable stuff in Cleveland. He has a show on MSNBC dedicated to try to bring more business to Cleveland. So...
I love me some Brown. But it was rumored to be that the reason why he did it is because he thought he was going to get cut from San Francisco. So that way, if he did get cut, it would be pushed away because he wasn't performing on the football field. It was because of the outspoken thing that he did.
Well, his agent's the man then. I mean, if that's the case, that's a great agent. I mean...
Not to say that he doesn't believe in it, because I'm sure that he does. But, I mean, it was kind of another way to spin it. That at least that's what I have read has happened, or was...
Well, and based on the timing, that would make sense. I don't know if you saw any interviews, but he speaks very intelligently in his interviews.
Oh, he's not a dumb dude.
He's bright. And, the things he was saying made perfect sense. He was very calm. He got asked some tough questions. He didn't back down. He didn't shy away. I liked it. I mean, I like most things about it, honestly. I do think, and if it is a publicity stunt, it's a smart publicity stunt, I got to say.
I mean, San Francisco, can't cut him now, I feel like.
Well, it'd be tougher. The other thing about it is, whenever you take a publicity stunt for a cause, you can't really go wrong. I mean, it's almost like doing something for breast cancer or something, Like, if a famous female rapper was to shave her head for breast cancer, that'd be cool and it would get publicity. It's never a bad thing when you do something publicly to try to... The Cam Newton piece. So Cam Newton has been crucified over this, and I find that very interesting too. I know a lot of folks in comments that I've read are calling Cam Newton Uncle Tom and things like that. Basically because what he said is, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do.
He's like, I can't decide if it was right, I can't decide if it was wrong, and he was just kind of went on to say, there's 1/8 of an inch of color, why are we still...
I think that's what got him in trouble.
So little.
I think that's what got him in trouble. That 1/8 inch thing. Don't quantify how much. Just say your piece like that. You start quantifying the difference between us all is just this much. It's like, no, it's not. I want to talk about the Cam Newton thing. I think that he's definitely being unjustly slammed. I mean, he's being...
That poor boy. He can't do no right in nobody's eyes.
I just think that they need to leave him alone. I mean, I don't know if it was a pro-black thing to say, but he was speaking from the heart. If somebody's speaking from the heart, just like Kaepernick is doing, he's doing from the heart, supposedly. Why are you knocking the man? I don't agree with that.
And he didn't say anything harmful either. He didn't say anything, rude. He wasn't, slamming anybody. And he can't really slam someone who's in the NFL either. Because so many coaches have come out and been like, well, that's his right.
Yeah, and you know what? He's got a lot of support. I mean, at first he was getting, Kaepernick, I'm referring to, was getting crucified. I mean, he was getting just slaughtered. But then you slowly saw the tide starting to turn where people are like, yo, if he feels that way, he can do that. That's his right as an American. And I think it comes down to that core principle is that it is your right as an American to not do whatever you want. That's why we live in America, not China, not Russia. We live in a place where we can have freedoms like that. And so for people to crush that, it's kind of crazy. Like I said, I think the socks overkill. I mean, I think that's like,
yeah,
we get it,
But what his message wasn't bad. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but I don't necessarily
agree with it.
I agree with what he did, what he was saying, but I don't agree with him just sitting on the bench.
What would you prefer him to do?
I would take some other actions before doing something so drastic. But again, that was my point earlier. You probably wanted something drastic so it would create so much attention.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, because I would imagine you'd have to talk to your people about it. Or they would bring...
Chris Brown.
Are we talking about Chris Brown?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Chris Brown.
All right, we're going to change directions. Chris Brown. Go.
Who I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So...
A little more than I'd like her to love him. Yeah. I'm not even going to diss Chris Brown because I do like him. I think he's off the chain, but I do like him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So... Okay, so I don't, a little later into the week, you got the Kaepernick thing happened kind of early last week, or maybe even the week before last at this point. But then earlier this week, Chris Brown wakes up.
There are several helicopters swarming him, SWAT teams at his house. There's news coverage on his house, and people are banging on his door. So
basically, what it sounds like happened, and I don't know, I've read a lot about it, but I didn't get the nitty gritty because it's so ridiculous. But basically, there was a woman at his place who has a history of being a thief. Former beauty pageant contestant who she didn't actually win, but she ended up with the sash and stuff, and just a really colorful background.
She lost on a technicality.
Yeah, and they tried to get it back. She's like, "Nah, I'm keeping this." But didn't you say she stole some?
Yeah, I can't remember her name actually.
Bailey Coran, I think it is.
Okay, so they were all at Chris Brown's house, and allegedly his people said that he was sleeping the entire time. Come to find out, he probably wasn't sleeping, but she had picked up some of his jewelry off the table.
It was one of his boys freaked out, right?
And they're like, don't touch his stuff. You can be here, not a problem, but do not touch his jewelry. Well, she picked it up, and they're like, you need to put it down, and she just wasn't listening. So it's rumored to be that Chris Brown, or one of his people, picked up a gun and threatened her, and said, you need to get out of my house now. She wasn't listening. Said, you need to put it down. You need to get out of my house. She didn't listen. That's when they picked up the gun and said, you need to get out of my house. She got out the house running, crying.
I mean, you probably shouldn't put a pistol in nobody's face.
Her friends had to go back in the house because she didn't have shoes on. She forgot her purse and her cell phone.
I mean, at that point, you put a gun on me, I'm like, all right, bro. But, okay, so it's a lot to this. Number one.
Oh, and then she called the cops.
Yeah, and that's where it all started. And they tried to run up at Chris Brown's house, without a warrant. He told him to get a warrant and come back, which...
He was getting crucified for. A lot of people were saying, well, if he wasn't guilty, then why did he have to hide? Why wouldn't they just let him in? Also, backtrack a little bit. They saw someone throw a duffel bag out of drugs and guns. That's what they said.
I mean, that's almost irrelevant to the story, but, my thing is, first of all, Chris Brown, who are you letting in your house?
For room.
I mean, if you...
Well, his people did an interview and said that's why we don't let people in the house.
But they were in the house, so that's not. So what was the exception this time? So first of all, who you let in your house? Second of all, why
don't
is
have
there
jewelry laying around?
That was my next point. Why you got jewels just out? I mean, I get it. If I were a multi-millionaire, it was like a 60,000 square foot home or whatever craziness.
You'd have chicks and jewelry laying around, huh?
I don't think I would though. I mean, I'm a very simplistic person anyway, so I don't know. Maybe I'm not the right example. But like, why is your stuff out? Third of all,
maybe he was just getting undressed, put on the table.
Well, from what I could tell, it seemed like there were several pieces that they were looking at.
Oh.
Which makes you go, okay, you're just showing off. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what gets the girls nowadays. I don't know, I'm an old man. But,
I don't get the girls.
But then I find it hard to believe Chris Brown himself would pull a gun. Like, what's the point of that?
Well, I don't think that he's stupid enough to. At this point, he's got a baby.
Have you seen some of the stuff on his Instagram?
I'm not saying that he's not ignorant. I'm just saying he's not stupid.
How far are the two apart? I guess that's the question.
I mean, a good distance.
I disagree. But well, yeah, I mean, it would be kind of crazy. He's been through some things, obviously the Rihanna thing, some drug things. I mean, he's been around the block. I mean, he's got a daughter. So I don't see the man putting a gun in this chick's face. Mind you, after it happened, she did, 5 interviews? Like 5 or 6 interviews?
Not even 12 hours later, she was doing interviews with TMZ trying to sell her story. Come to find out that her name popped up in the system. In New York, she went into an exclusive party, grabbed someone's Coach bag that was worth $2,000, ran out the door with it. Security ran after her. She grabbed all the contents, which include a Michael Kors watch.
A Michael watch? Sorry, I'm not making sure America can hear you.
Michael Kors watch.
There we go. Gotcha. Like that enunciation.
And credit cards, and she grabbed all that, dumped the bag. And so she's wanted in New York. They want her to come in. And she is known as a klepto by all her friends. She's just a continuous liar. And people were saying that...
So here's my question. Is she a professional crook? Because you could be at a party in New York selling jewels.
Absolutely.
So how is she getting into Chris Brown's crib? My thing is like, is she just with a group of, a group of girls that all just do this? Do they
Probably.
I would think so. I would think they'd have to. Because how else would you...
Or a friend of a friend.
But back to my original point. Chris Brown, tighten up. It just feels like that's such a loosey-goosey thing, man. Like...
Well, then it kind of goes back to, like, maybe his people, like, brought them in.
Yeah, and I guess you can't watch everything.
And we've always said that he needs better people around him.
Yeah. Well, the one thing he needs to do is just mature. I still think he's 27 years old, I believe.
Something like that.
At this point, you got a little girl. Like, you've been successful a long time. You're used to being a star. I mean, carry yourself with a certain dignity. That's what people loved about Michael Jackson until he got all weird. But, is
a bad reference.
Well, but like people always enjoyed Michael because he seemed like a nice person. And the thing about Chris Brown is like he doesn't ever strike me as somebody who I would think, man, he's a great person. Like, I mean, does he? To you? If take away what you love about him and look at him for a dude, he doesn't seem like the dude you'd be like, that's a really great guy. You just wouldn't say that about Chris Brown.
I think that he's trying. That's just me being a hopeful fan.
Like I said, I think he's done well to stay out of trouble lately. I mean, he's not getting shot at anymore. Do you remember that period of time when he was getting shot at like every show he did? I mean, the man draws trouble. So I just hope that he's probably one of the most prolific since Michael Jackson in terms
absolutely.
And so I hope he does straighten it up. But like incidents like this tell me he's not, his circle ain't tight.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with his struggle, and I think that lady was just looking for 15 minutes of fame. I'm not sure they did cuff him, take him down, but he's a free man.
Man,
so I'm assuming.
But said that when they run up in your house, it's like you free, but you don't feel free. They just,
no, absolutely.
I mean,
and so I think he doesn't have obviously any charges against him. I think they're looking at her more so now than anything.
I hope she gets what's coming to. See, when you do bad in life, bad comes back to you. You gotta.
So it's coming, baby.
So anyway, Chris Brown tighten up. We may do a revisit on the Kaepernick thing depending on how developments. I think they're gonna end up dropping him anyway, though. I mean, if he's already on the bench.
If he doesn't perform well, I think that they will.
Yeah, but I think he'll get picked back up because. Okay, thank you. I think he'll get picked back up because on the flip side of that, like, are we done?
Yeah, I'm done.
On the flip side is that.
I'm just kidding.
On the flip side is that another team will want that publicity. So, for as bad as it is...
Do you see this?
For as bad as it is, it's also a good thing. So happy Labor Day, America. Like, comment, subscribe. Smart Meets Stupid. If there's anything you'd like to see us do, we just did like a weekend of good vlogging. Are you shaking it? Why are you always talking to them like I can't see you at the corner of my eye or something? Hope that chair breaks. Anyway, we out. Have a wonderful Labor Day, and we'll see you next time.